How's it going, everyone? Sean here from Raw Technique Studios. I want to talk to you guys today about the pros and the cons of working at home full time. So, whether you do audio work or whatever it is that you do, if you're working at home full time, then these are some of the pros and cons that are expected or that you might run into. So, the first thing is I'm going to start with a pro, and that would be scheduling. Working at home full time, I don't have a boss. I don't have anybody looking over my shoulder, seeing what I'm doing. It's all up to me on when I do stuff and how much I want to work throughout the day. So some days I could work 3 hours, some days I could work 12 hours. It just depends on how I want to do it. I don't have to start at a specific time, so I could wake up at 10 a.m. and start work at 11 if I want. I wake up at 7, or I could just work throughout the night. So that's something that's really beneficial to working at home full time is you decide when you want to work, which means you could take a vacation whenever you want. You could not work whatever day you don't want to work. You could stop work and do something else. It's all up to you, which really helps with being able to do whatever you want with your personal life. Now, another benefit of working from home is you don't have to drive to work. So you're going to save money on gas. You're going to not have to worry about rushing in at a specific time to work. It just helps a lot. You don't even need a car if you work from home full time. You don't necessarily need a car. You could just Uber or take a bus or whatever to whatever you need to do outside of work. But that's just the thing. Transportation is not necessary when you work from home. You get up and you just walk a couple feet into your office and you're there. Another thing is being able to take a break whenever you want. So that's a big thing. If you get hungry an hour into your shift when you're at work, you're going to have to wait until lunchtime to be able to get food. So that's a negative of working out somewhere else compared to at home. I could just walk. I have a fridge right over here. Walk over there, grab some food, and I could eat while I work, and it's not going to be a problem. Or I could just take a break and eat some food and then get back to work when I feel like it. So being able to take a break is something I really enjoy. I hated when I worked for other companies and stuff, having to wait to eat or wait to check your phone or whatever. So those are things that definitely are pros to working at home full time. So now we covered the main pros that I could think of right now. But now let's cover the cons of working at home full time. So the first thing is you have to be self-motivated. This could be a pro or a con. If you are a self-motivated person and you could always just keep yourself going, then you're going to be great with working at home full time. You're probably going to make way more money working for yourself at home compared to working at some other business because you're self-motivated. You could keep yourself going. You could grow your client list. You could sell more stuff, and you could do more by being self-motivated. If you're not self-motivated, then you might end up just hanging out at home, working an hour a day, and that's a struggle that happens. I know I run into that every now and then. There's some days where I just crank out a bunch of work, and then there's other days where I'm just like, I don't feel like it. I work for maybe an hour or two, and then I just hang out at home. So that's an issue. So it goes both ways. Some days are good, some days are bad, but that's something definitely you need is self-motivation. A big con would be the isolation of being at home all the time. So if you work at home, when you get off work, then you might walk over a couple feet and there's your couch or there's your kitchen or dining room table, whatever. It's all just right there. You never leave the house. So that could be something that could lead to some issues like social anxiety or depression. Those are things that people could develop when being isolated for a long period of time. So to counter that is to make sure you're doing stuff outside of your home. You don't want to be at home all the time. It could lead to those issues. So whether join like a sports thing that's every week, you could do bowling or shooting pool or softball or whatever it is, something that socializes you. Go out with your friends and just hang out. Make sure you do that regularly because if you don't, you could develop some issues. I had some issues with social anxiety because I was at home all the time for a long period of time and it just messed with me. Like I got to the point where I felt so comfortable at home when I went out, it felt weird to be around people. And that was something that definitely isn't good. So I've been making sure that I go out and that's something I'm used to is hanging out with people, being in social environments and doing that regularly. And that's something you need to do. Another con to staying at home all the time, working at home full time, is exercise and getting sunlight. So you need to exercise and you need to get some sun, uh, because that's just what our bodies need. So if you're sitting in a chair for 8 hours a day and then you walk 2 feet and sit on your couch for the rest of the day, then you're going to be very unhealthy. So what you need to do is force yourself to exercise. So I need to go outside, get some sun exposure, go to the gym, do some cardio, do something to just stay active. And you have to force yourself to do that because your job doesn't require it. If you're working outside for somebody else, then you need to drive to work where you're getting sun exposure. You need to walk around at work, whether you're bringing paperwork somewhere or just walking from your car to the building. You're at least walking a little bit compared to here. I don't need to walk at all for work. I sit in this chair, I work, and that's it. So that's a con to working at home, no exercise or sunlight. Another thing is distractions. And if you have no coworkers, no boss, anybody looking over your shoulder, then it's really easy to get distracted by your phone notifications. So your phone, you might get a text message, you could just take it out, check it, and then that might interrupt your mix, your recording, your whatever you're doing at home for work. So that is just too easy of a distraction. And the only way to counter it is turn your phone to silent or turn off notifications for the apps that you don't want to be notified for when you're working. And that's something that happens. Another thing is I have dogs here and they could bark throughout a video or throughout a mix or whatever it is I'm doing. And it just is a distraction having to calm them down so I could get back to filming a video, compared to if I worked at an office, I wouldn't have to worry about animals being there. Another distraction is if your significant other or friends or whatever, your people that you room with, if they come home early or if they are home while you're trying to work, that could be a distraction. They might be trying to watch TV and that's going on in the background. They might be trying to do something and that just the noises or just them being there could be a distraction. So that's another negative to working at home, is just the things that happen at home could interrupt your workflow. All right, so those are the main points with the pros and the cons to working at home. With the cons, I try to give some of the solutions to make it so it's not as bad of a con as long as you do those things. But if you have any pros or cons that you want to add to the list, if you work at home full time and you want to add something, please put it in the comments so I could read it as well as everybody else so they know what to expect if they're looking to work at home full time as well. All right, so thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.